Welcome back to the SPL Adonis, joined by Anatoly here. We're heading over to Europe as we have two matches for you here today. No Console League, though. That's going to be taking a break. That'll be returning in June here. But Torpedo going to be taking on Panthera, the first match we've got.
17-1 Panthera versus Torpedo 5-11 right now. It's going to be very difficult for Torpedo to find the win. Panthera with adapting, speed buff back at his side. That's his strength. He loves the speed buff. I'm curious to see what god he's going to pick.
We could see Panthera, I believe, clinch here. If they're able to take 2 games, then it is not possible for 3 other teams to surpass them here, which means Panthera 2-0 equals a DreamHack clinching scenario for them. The rest of the field, it's going to be a while before they're going to be able to match that.
If they win 2-0 here, they'll be 19-1. Whether or not they'll secure the #1 seed, I'm expecting them to hold on to that #1 spot, but you never know.
I mean, this who was second there? I think it was Cringe Crew with 11 wins. It's very unlikely that they drop any games, honestly, closing out right now. They're a very potent team, and they're going to go up against Torpedo today, who are kind of sitting at the bottom.
They've been struggling a little bit. They tried to do a role swap between Moex and Gamehunter in the Hunter and the solo lane position. It was a little bit difficult in the beginning, but later on it's been working a little bit better. We'll see how it transitions in this set.
Well, let's head into picks and bans for Game 1 of Torpedo versus Paradigm.
Good purification from Zero. Slide connected from Korinyo to confirm it. Bobat is dead. He's going to use purification while in the air. Big shield from Murrdurr keeps him alive though, and a cataclysm too. Great play from Murrdurr. Big ultimate onto Jungle, who gets knocked up as well. Evaporated. Drums of Warcraft and NinjaBobat actually to find that one.
And it is Panthera, not Paradigm, playing here. Torpedo in this first pick position. They're going to have the option to start the bans away. Do you just target out adapting here? Do you take away his Thor?
There's so many threats for Panthera, whether it's the global pressure from the Mercury or the Thor out of adapting, or whether it's the Giannis or the Hunters coming out of Yammyn. You just don't really know which way to ban for Panthera, so it's very difficult to play against them as a result.
And it's going to be Najah targeted away from adapting. Panthera going to be responding with locking away Kepri, and a Bacchus banned by Torpedo. Nothing we've really seen come out of Panthera just yet, but Torpedo seems a little bit scared of it.
A lot of jungle bans, clearly targeting adapting here. There's a lot of options that he's comfortable with, winning with Fenrir twice at Worlds against C9 back then. He can play a variety god pool in the jungle, so it's hard to really target ban here. Mercury's open, Thor is open for adapting.
And it was Chronos taken away, so looks like Shaggy Shank, or excuse me, not Shaggy Shank, Gamehunter going to be on a god maybe not as comfortable with. We've really seen his Chronos shine, and Torpedo, they're going to respond with a Raijin first pick. You know, at the beginning of the split, we saw a lot of Raijin, although not so many successful wins. With his buff, though, teams are starting to dabble back into picking him up.
The damage is very strong with Raijin. We saw yesterday the combination between the Hunbats and the Raijin just doing a lot of damage with the CC. Anybody that gets targeted just gets instantly blown up. Panthera respond to the Raijin with a Neith and a Soul. A little bit of a flex opportunity there between the middle and the Hunter position.
Where would you expect this to go? Do you think the Neith's just going to go to emilitoo?
It could go either way. I would assume that Yammyn would play the Hunter in middle just because it's Yammyn. He's been known to play Hunters before. He's played Chiron, he's played Medusa. All these Hunters.
Torpedo here, they're going to be looking to respond in Nemesis. So Nemesis recently buffed as well as Raijin. We're starting to see her a lot more, although not so successful at the start. However, Captain Twig able to pick up 2 wins, and I believe it was a very similar combo there, Raijin and Nemesis.
Yeah, whenever the Bacchus did initiate, Nemesis would instantly respond with the Nemesis ulti. The Raijin ulti would follow up as well, doing a lot of damage. So maybe this is another target that Torpedo is doing. Whoever initiates onto their backline is going to get instantly blown up by that Wombo combo ultimates.
Panthera here looking to close out the last pick of the first phase of the draft, and it's going to be Guan Yu, so that's not really flex. I feel like that's going straight to Dimi.
It more than likely will go to Dimi, but on the other hand,
as well.
iRaffer has been known to play Guan Yu, and it's not a bad idea when you have a Guan Yu support with sustain. You pick up an early meditation in those 3v3 jungle fights. It's really important if you can get that early sustain going.
And Torpedo here, they're feeling that's going to go to iRaffer as well. They ban out Amaterasu. And Thor taken away from adapting as well, so continuing to target out the junglers, where Panthera, they're going to lock away Hou Yi from Gamehunter, so 2 shots at him, not something you typically see in that Hunter role.
3 shots taken away from adapting as well, and Panthera is not phased by it. They're still holding on to their jungle pick. They don't really care that all these junglers are banned away. We'll see what Panthera elect to do. There's a lot of options. There's Fenrir that's open, and Fenrir is indeed going to be locked in, adapting, known to play very aggressive here. Fenrir, Neith in the middle jungle combination. The Fenrir will stun, the Neith will root, and that could potentially open up first blood early on.
And we've also seen the setup of Fenrir into Soul, right? Where one of the things with confirming Soul's damage is the first hit of her ultimate knocks you away. Fenrir guarantees you're locked in place and getting hit by every single instance of Supernova here. Apollo going to be locked in, so a pretty good matchup there against Fenrir and Guan.
Apollo can easily stop the Brutalize with his Mez. Apollo also very known to be picked by Gamehunter. His split pushing prowess is very high, and that's something that he's very comfortable with. Moex picking up the Hercules.
How do you feel about the Hercules, right? Because this seems to be a comfort pick for him. Since the Soul Lane, since he switched over to Soul Lane, we've seen him on it quite often, but not so much success.
Well, the goal for Torpedo is the Athena taunts, the Hercules will pull push, Raijin's going to follow up. And on the other side, Panthera picking up the Bacchus, so they're playing very aggressive here. Fenrir, Bacchus, and Guan.
How deadly is this composition from Panthera? Because right now it really looks like they're kind of focusing on the early pressure, where Torpedo kind of looking more for some split push and global rotations.
There's a lot of early base damage coming out of Panthera between the Fenrir and the Bacchus, and whoever follows it up, whether it's Neith or the Soul, Panthera's looking very strong in the early game.
Well, if Panthera want to clinch their DreamHack slot today, they're going to have to take 2 games away from Torpedo. Let's see if they can take game 1.
Cubo Fred's in a bad spot. That's going to be a 2 for 0 so far as Dimi comes in with a huge ultimate, stunning 2 and killing 1.
Emilitoo was looking for the kill there. Oh,
This guy's not human.
focus onto Lobster instead. He's trying to get the
No!
ball, but
No!
Into game we go. Warding has started. Murrdurr and iRaffer gonna get vision control of these mid harpies. I'll be interested to see what Panthera like to do at the start, because we've seen a couple different teams try out new jungle strategies.
Based on the warding that Dimi elected to do, very defensively on his own mid-harpies and then aggressively towards the blue, it means that Panthera is a little bit of afraid of the invade coming out of Torpedo, especially if there's a very aggressive relic coming out of the Hercules, whether it's Curse or a Sprint, with the Nemesis slow, with a stun from Hercules. So Panthera really respecting the 2v2 between the jungle and solo lane.
Adapting and Dimi actually, I don't know if anyone caught that there, but actually pinging out an outer path through that right lane there. Do you think they could potentially invade with the Guan and Fenrir? Is that something that, maybe shut down this Nemesis early? Because that's one of the things about Nemesis, is that she can just get behind and it's basically over for her.
So there are multiple opening strategies that you can do now with the speed buff. You can do your own speed and then invade the enemy blue. That's an option. Do your blue and then invade the enemy blue. But it looks like they're going to start off both speeds. We'll see if Panthera like to invade here or if they're going to play it safe and stick the blue buff onto the Guan Yu.
And it looks like they're going to be playing it safe. Panthera doing their own blue buff here. NinjaBobat has speed online, as well as going into, it looks like a little bit of attack speed first, so not going immediately into the boots. Looks like he might be trying to get that Ick-Vile start. Is this good, though? Just the bonus attack speed help you clear on Nemesis?
Especially with her passive, the way it works now, it's a little bit of a buff since the last patch, so it's not a bad idea to get that early attack speed. And I like the way Torpedo min-maxed that blue buff start, pulling it and then resetting it towards the side while the Hercules pushed it out.
And adapting over there, just gonna out-pressure that soul lane with Dimi. You can see Murrdurr just kind of rotating. It looks like he's trying to rotate to the mid-camps, but they've already been completed. I'm not exactly sure who got those. Korinyo and Yammyn both trying to secure them. Someone stole them away, but adapting and Dimi, they're gonna get the fire elementals, so a small early lead for Panthera.
Small early lead as Korinyo is going to group up with NinjaBobat for the right side mid Harpies. So even though they lost those Fire Giant Imps, they're picking up the right side mids. There's going to be no aggression allowed for Panthera to do anything with this early Fenrir at this point in time.
Something to note, Korinyo's actually gone into the purple pot there, and Fenrir, Adapting's Fenrir has gone into the red pot, but the opposing mid and jungler actually not electing to go into power pots. A little bit worried there that they're going to get pressured out.
Yeah, you have to take into consideration the damage that both the combination between you, the mid-jungler, and the enemy mid-jungler. Murrdurr taking a lot of damage, forced to use an early meditation.
Probably didn't want to do that there. I don't think you noticed that the weave was sitting on the ground. quickly got bursted. But Meditation early, not the worst, you know. 120-second cooldown, one of the lower ones for relics outside of, you know, the 60-second Wrath, which we saw Suntouch really abuse the other day.
And we didn't see this on screen, but the meditation from the Bacchus was used as well. So both meditations for supports are down. They're relying on remaining on their potions. The Athena doesn't have any more health potions. iRaffer jumping in.
And actually going to get slowed out here. No rotations coming from either team. And Gamehunter's going to dash forward, but emilitoo body blocking for his support there. Still getting poked out, though, and it looks like Torpedo are going to have control of this lane for now.
Just for now, they're going to have a little bit of control. They're going to reset both supports not having any more health potions. The boars are responding in about a minute. Gamehunter has a little bit of an advantage just because of the fact that he has the audacity. He doesn't have to use any abilities to clear the wave. And just like that, Torpedo is, Panthera is respecting the clear, and they're just going to sit back under tower.
And you saw that too. Gamehunter actually stacking up all the minions, so Golden Probe procced on all. It actually looks like Torpedo want to look to invade the boards. They're going to have some pressure right-hand side, though, mid. The Fire Elementals going to go the way of Panthera. Adapting jumps forward, but NinjaBobat just out of range.
It was a 3v2 in that situation. If that stun connected, there was going to be a lot of fireworks off of that stun.
And Bobat, Korinyo here, taking a little bit of poke from Stellar Burst, but it doesn't look like Panthera want to force anything early. Is this, you know, is this what they want to do? Do they want to kind of play slow-paced and wait for an opportunity, or should this Fenrir and Soul really be looking to force some of these fights?
The Fenrir and Soul should be looking to force something, and Torpedo should be waiting for that kind of strategy so that they can counter with a Nemesis Raijin ulti, especially when the 3v3 happens and the supports enter that. The Bacchus jumping in, he's going to be the main target. Without an escape and getting Nemesis ulti, shredding the protections, he can easily take a spill.
And there's also the double global, right? The double global dual lane coming out of Torpedo, which means Gamehunter's going to be able to be in the mix. Although there is Neith, I guess, so it's a little bit even there. What's more important, right? Apollo rotations or the Neith ult?
The Apollo rotations are way more important than the Neith ultimate, obviously, because once you land, you do the damage, and then you have the enhance. If you just stay in lane and use your Neith ultimate, you clear the wave, sure, but then it's going to take you forever to rotate, whereas the Apollo's already into that team fight. And normally when you have globals in the dual lane, the best thing to do is to take the fight to the globals, so that way you don't have to worry about the globals when you're in the mid lane fighting for those mid harpies.
And it really seems in this game right now, Panthera is respecting Torpedo a lot, which is something I wouldn't say they do to other teams, right? There's been opportunities where maybe they can look to engage or invade, but so far they've been pretty passive.
They're waiting for a power spike, whether it's the Warrior Tabby on the Fenrir. They're getting the red buff on the Soul at this point in time, just clearing out the camps right now. They're waiting for Torpedo to misstep just a little bit, getting caught under a ward, rotating, and then from there, Adapting will play aggressive.
Korinyo here going to be picking up his red buff, heading back to base soon. Actually hasn't backed just yet. Looks like he wants one more wave. Needs to be a little bit careful here. Right-hand side Fire Elemental is going to go to Panthera once again. However, the gold's even, so Torpedo matching everything for now.
It looks like they want to take advantage of Moex. Adapting is around the corner. There is no word for Moex, but he expects something's a little fishy.
Maybe the placement here, Moex going to read it, just avoids the stun. You can see the Athena ult actually used as well, as Moex looking to go aggressive. You could see Nemesis rotating in as well. Dimi has ultimate.
The Nemesis is going to ulti. We do have the Fenrir biting Murrdurr under the tower. Neith ultimate was used as well. First blood credited to Adapting.
iRaffer's rotation coming in as well, trying to close the gap onto Moex here. Driving Strike is down and he's actually turned around, but not going to happen. Dimi's going to clean up a little bit of healing there. And a misplay coming out of Torpedo. They actually ulted Dimi when he still had Cavalry charge up, and then Fenrir beautifully locks, I believe it was Murrdurr under tower, nothing he could do.
So what happened initially was during the Adapting gank, they knew it was going to happen, and Athena jumped the gun a little bit too soon. The driving strike was good. Adapting taking a lot of damage to Korinyo. Can he find the kill? He does!
Oh, actually manages to snipe him out. Korinyo's going to stay alive. Moex, Murrdurr, and Gamehunter, or excuse me, NinjaBobat are here as well, and Yammyn actually going to get stunned. iRaffer finds a 3-man knockup. Murrdurr trying to find Yammyn, but he's going to be able to go into incorporeal form here soon. No, the cooldown's not there. NinjaBobat actually finds a second kill for Torpedo, so not only evening it up there with the pick on Adapting, but also taking out Yammyn.
That's a nice cleanup for Torpedo. They get one kill on both their jungler and mid laner, so now when these buffs respawn around the 6.5 minute mark, which speed buff is responding, Torpedo is taking advantage of it right away, utilizing their player advantage, going for it.
And it doesn't look like iRaffer is going to be able to stop this. This is free. Dimi actually TPs over to his ward. He's going to head over to the lane as well. Needs to be a little bit worried here, though. NinjaBobat coming up from the top, and I think Dimi saw Bobat walk over that ward and then decided he can't kill Mox anymore.
He realized that the speed buff was down, the ward beautifully placed, catches the rotation from NinjaBobat. Also, the blue buff is responding, so going for the kill in this situation is a little risky. If you die, you lose your blue buff on top of that.
iRaffer doesn't seem to want to give up the opponent's speed buff for free here, adapting, hanging around as well, but it's already going to be secured, going to Bobat once again, and Torpedo find themselves with only about 100 gold lead, but a little bit of momentum.
A little bit of momentum with the speed buff that they stalled. This is not normally known for adapting to lose his speed buff earlier on in Season 2, so we'll see how he adapts to the situation, as we do have Murrdurr peeking his head around the corner. Adapting still looking to play aggressive. Despite losing the speed buff, he's looking for anything that he can get, whether it's even a little bit of poke damage. This is something that he needs to set up his team, but it looks like they're just going to go grab their own red.
So Panthera here, foot off the gas for now. I love what emilitoo is doing. You can actually see it in the corner of your eye. He always does this on Neith as he steals away the boars from Gamehunter, is that he's always charging Worldweaver, right? This isn't actually to fire it, right? But he always has it charged, and it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf, where it's like, Gamehunter's like, all right, he's charging Neith ult. Okay, he's charging Neith ult. Okay, he's charging Neith ult. 8 times in a row he does it, but he doesn't fire. And then, the 9th time, he finally fires it, and Gamehunter's like, sorry, guys.
So the whole point behind that strategy is it's similar to when you're just hiding in the jungle. We do have Murrdurr dash taunting, iRaffer, just a little bit of poke exchange. So the point of that strategy is you're trying to clutter the communications of the enemy team, and that's the similar strategy where the soul laner will just hide in the jungle, similar to what emilitoo is doing here. He's just charging his Neith ult. He doesn't really actually intend to fire it at all, but like there will be a point in time when Gamehunter won't call the charge because he'll understand there's no team fights going on, so why am I going to call it until that actual situation where a team fight does break out, and then he's not going to call it.
And that's one thing too, is a lot of times, right, you'll need to quick fire the Neith ult, but if you always have it like max charge, you're going to be able to fire it the second you need to, and with 0 delay. Torpedo going to get these fire elementals, and it doesn't look like Panthera wants to force anything anytime soon, but adapting, actually heading over to the right-hand side, maybe trying to kill Mox here once again. But Mox smells something, I think. No, he doesn't know.
I think what he wants to do is force another Athena ultimate from here. Dimi is going to get stunned out. Neith ultimate used as well. And
this should be a clean kill. Murrdurr's going to come crashing down, but shouldn't land in time, and that's going to be another kill onto Mox there. No wards for him, and adapting just walks over and gets him for free.
That was actually really fortunate for Torpedo, because if Athena had landed, she might have taken a spill as well. Murrdurr going to find a dash taunt onto Yammyn.
And actually, Yammyn slowed under tower there, but it's not going to be enough damage. He'll go into incorporeal form and head back and farm up, but this is not a stomp, right? A lot of times we're expecting Panthera to just run over teams, especially Torpedo. He's sitting, at the bottom of the standings, but Torpedo, they don't seem to be scared of Panthera at all, which is what a lot of teams play like.
Because of that bye week and the speed buff change, a lot of teams having to adapt to the new changes in the jungle. Looks like Torpedo a little bit better prep as NinjaBobat trying to set up Korinyo for a kill. Not going to find it, however, just double dashing away from the tower. I like the idea and the aggressiveness
Adapting
from
wants to
NinjaBobat.
fight. Adapting wants to fight. He's going to look for Korinyo. No Thunder Crash, but there goes the taunt, canceling out Brutalizing emilitoo, sniping out Korinyo under tower, but he's pulled back in by Mox. He should fall in return. A 1-for-1 Hunter for mid laner.
Unfortunately for emilitoo, he used his backflip to get into the middle lane a little bit faster. As a result, he didn't have that escape, getting pushed under tower. Unfortunate 1-for-1 for Panthera. Kills are tied. The gold actually favoring Panthera a little bit. 700 gold and 900 experience at the 10.5 minute mark.
Let's go back to players. I want to see where that difference is. We've got a 400 gold lead on Dimi. That's understandable. Mox has taken a spill. NinjaBobat as well, about 100. Nothing too major there. And I guess supports, right? And it's probably the Traveler shoe. So 400 of that is Traveler shoes coming out of iRaffer. Not too big of a deal.
It's not too big of a deal. However, it's going to allow him to out-rotate the Athena in certain situations and try to match the global presence that she does have. He also has the wing blade to allow that rotation.
That is a massive amount of move speed, especially if iRaffer gets slowed at all. He's going to have that 20% burst or movement speed burst in. Really, I mean, NinjaBobat, his whole kit is slowing people.
And the way iRaffer plays Bacchus is he'll try to set up the best possible situation where he'll hit multiple targets with his Intoxicate, and having that extra movement speed to reposition yourself after the belly flop will allow him to do so.
Also, just the perfect counter against Divine Judgment, right? Like, that's the biggest weakness of Nemesis, is that sprint and Winged Blade just could completely neutralize her entire kit.
And on top of that, when Nemesis steals your protection, she's not stealing all your health. So that 300 health is going to help you a great deal surviving that Nemesis ult.
And now heading into the 12-minute mark, this is where it gets dangerous for Torpedo. Panthera have been known that around 12 to 18 minutes, right? Somewhere in there, they'll just turn the switch, and it turns into a massive team fight. Hasn't happened just yet, and honestly, the game may not be going in, you know, the way they may have liked, but we've seen this, right? We've seen them head even into this 12th minute here. Where do you think, if they do pull a switch, it's going to be at?
It's going to be around Gold Fury. One team is going to try to force a Gold Fury. Both teams having good kill secure on the Gold Fury and kill stealing on the Gold Fury, with Korinyo on the Raijin ultimate's going to do a lot of damage, the Stellar Burst out of Yammyn and his ultimate as well, the Intoxicate from iRaffer.
And iRaffer actually going to try and find a stun onto NinjaBobat, but he jukes the belly flop and then dashes away. 3v3 grouping here, but Dimi's made the rotation. He took the tier 1 tower on hand side, uncontested. Moex couldn't really stop it. And actually, Torpedo, looks like they're trying to force something here, but right over a ward. NinjaBobat saw that placed in front of him. And actually, Athena ult charged.
Athena ult charged onto Korinyo. Sanctuary was used as well. Soul ultimate pop shell was used. Here comes Dimi with his ultimate, focusing
Dimi's in
Korinyo.
trouble. Oh, Thunder crashes the way, and actually it's Gamehunter coming crashing down, but the heals from Dimi going to be too much, and it's a 0-for-0 wash, but Korinyo barely escaping that one. Beautiful rotation coming out from Dimi, just not enough to secure the kill. Thunder crashes away to safety.
A lot of ultimates were used. A lot of relics were used as well. Only Hercules ultimate is back up. That could be a good tool in terms of starting up Gold Fury, potentially baiting a team fight, and in that little corridor, the jungle side, that boulder will do a lot of damage.
And there aren't any ultimates online from either team right now. So there is that opportunity, but that's kind of too much of a risk, though, at this stage, I would imagine.
I mean, both teams are positioning themselves around the mid lane as if they want to force something. Adapting is sniffing something out.
Adapting wants to fight. You can tell just...
He's positioning himself as if he wants to jump onto somebody. They recognize whose purification is down, and they want to potentially stun that target out, followed up with some damage out of Yammyn.
And it's actually going to be a taunt onto Adapting here. No purification used. He's just going to jump away for now. iRaffer peeling away here, getting isolated by Gamehunter and the rest of Torpedo, but it's a wash once again. And Panthera, they are on their back foot, and Torpedo, I think they're going to start this.
Hercules did teleport. Guan still has his teleport, does meet into the team fight. He's going to peek his head around the corner. Gold Fury extremely low, does get secured by Torpedo.
Adapting, though, going in here, and Dimi going to find a 3-man stun, but the rest of his team is focusing on the left-hand side. Murrdurr, he's going to fall, but actually Moex, beautiful peel. Dimi trying to chase him down, and it's going to be Yammyn over the wall with the Stellar Burst to finish him off. Bobat very low as well, trying to escape. It's just Moex on this front line, trying to keep Panthera back in Torpedo. They walk away with not only the first Gold Fury, but they only lose Murrdurr for it.
And that's a perfect trade that you want to do. You only want to lose your support. That's fine in this situation. When she revives, she still has the ultimate. So if Panthera plays aggressive, the counter aggression from Torpedo is really high. Gamehunter
trying to find the boars here. Emilitoo actually getting hit by the Golden Bow, but spacing really well. Spirit Arrow, not going to be enough to kill, but it's actually Sanctuary, and here comes iRaffer's rotation. One more hit, but it's Gamehunter. Gets so beautiful off just in time. iRaffer returns the kill, but still just outplayed.
Just outplayed by the Bacchus Meat Club. That's the most annoying way to die in Smite, getting hit by that big old club. Dimi taking a lot of damage. Gonna force the ulti defensively away, as Korinyo did show up as well.
And right-hand side, actually, Panthera able to successfully steal away both the blue buff and the speed buff. And as a return favor, Torpedo going to take that tier 1 tower on right-hand side. And it's 4-5, Panthera up in kills, but actually up in gold as well. So they've been out farming despite losing that first Gold Fury.
They stolen a couple buffs. They were pretty good about getting those Fire Giant Imps earlier on, which does add up if you consistently get those. Also, the mid-Harpies were a big factor. Despite them losing the speed buff earlier on, they were still able to find other objectives, other little objectives to take here and there.
And now they have a grouping here in the mid lane. Don't think they're going to be forcing too much, though. Panthera not in position, but they don't have a wave. Torpedo doesn't have really a wave. And it's going to go back to the farming game for now. What would you like to see more from, you know, both these teams right now? Or is this just kind of how you expected the game to go?
Well, both teams are still feeling each other out. Torpedo want this win. They don't want to get relegated. Panthera, they're very comfortable right now, 17-1. They're still experimenting with the speed buff strategies. They don't want to reveal too many strategies at this point in time when you're this far ahead. You basically understand that we're making DreamHack, so we have a wide variety of strategies. Let's limit what we actually show
Do you
to
think
the other
Panthera's just
teams.
playing, like, I don't want to say a blind game, but like they're just playing it as it happens and not necessarily coming in with a set plan like we've seen from other, when they, earlier in the split?
I mean, their plan is to be very aggressive with this Fenrir, Bacchus, and the Neith follow-up. That's not a surprise here, but the issue is how Torpedo has responded to this aggression. They're able to capitalize a little bit earlier on with the speed buff invade, and just the damage from Korinyo has been really impressive also, sitting at number 3 at 5,500.
And most of that's not poke. That seems to be all team fighting damage, right? He's very aggressive with the Thunder Crashes, not really scared to put himself in an awkward spot, trusts in his team to follow up, as well as his ults, right? Taiko drums, like, one of the hardest things is confirming the damage in a lot of situations, but it seems that Korinyo is hitting every single shot every team fight.
And when you have the Athena taunt to set you up, that makes it a lot easier. The recent patch change as
Yes.
well, allowing the duration of the ultimate to last a little bit longer, definitely helps Korinyo. And we do have another charge by emilitoo. We'll see if this happens.
I think he's going to go for it. Actually, it's a bait as Murrdurr goes aggressive, trying to find emilitoo, and not a bait too much here, as Gamehunter's going to jump away very quickly, burns his purification. Rotation actually towards the Gold Fury here. Bobat and Korinyo facing off against iRaffer.
Not going to find a stun for iRaffer. Korinyo looking for a little bit of poke, but he doesn't want to overextend too much. I like the Pestilence pickup from the Hercules in this situation to try to limit the healing out of the Guan. You do have the Meditate onto the Bacchus as well to limit that, so good
There's
pickup.
actually a good amount of healing all across Panthera, right? Dimi has Conviction, Adapting has Seething Howl, so he's going to get a little bit bonus from his in-hands. Yammyn, he's actually going to get aggressed on here, stun against the wall, and a good amount of damage, but he'll be fine here, not knocked away. Raffer just trying to peel.
Good blink stun coming out of Moix. They have to try to capitalize on this situation. Yammyn is extremely low. Murrdurr's going to look for a dash taunt. Actually just going to taunt out Dimi. He's going to get poked out. Pulled is going to miss. However, the boulder rolling down the lane.
And now actually Taiko Drum's not finding a single player, and you can see that Meditation and Shell from Panthera a little bit too useful. And now Torpedo, they're in a little bit of trouble here. Panthera still have all their ultimates online, nothing except for Gamehunters, and here comes Adapting around the corner. Murrdurr though going aggressive, and it's going to be a jump. Dimi, he's actually isolated in the back. Moix trying to find him, but he's not going to. The heals coming through. And Meditation popped once again. Gamehunter lands in between all 5 of Panthera, though. He's trying to get targeted out by Adapting. Adapting jumps over the wall, and here comes Dimi trying to do some damage, but actually Panthera, they're the ones getting pushed back, and Murrdurr with another 2-man taunt. Korinyo, Thunder Crash, takes out Dimi, and somehow Torpedo, they're actually winning these fights.
First victim is Dimi now that healing is limited. However, Panthera's not deterred. Gonna stun out Murrdurr, like find the return kill, and now the shield was used by NinjaBobat. Looks like 1-for-1 exchange for both these teams. They're very content with that. They're going to disengage, as it looks like maybe Panthera's going to press their luck. Going to root out Moix, and there's no more mana for Moix in the rest of this team fight.
No more mana for Moix, no more life for Korinyo. Raffer barely avoids Moix knockup. He would have been plucked under tower there. You can see Bobat actually over here at these mid camps, but not going to be able to stop Panthera, and they walk away with the tower. How many people died there? 1? 2?
2 people, just 1-for-1 in that whole exchange. First it was Dimi. It was about a 20-second engage before finally Dimi did fall, and then Murrdurr shortly fell afterwards. It was good. The way Apollo rotated in that team fight baited out Adapting also, and then it also baited Dimi to go back in. And that little exchange when Dimi went back in was what Torpedo needed. They just needed to find a way to better disengage afterwards.
That was really high level, kind of poked it, like just poking and re-engaging and reinitiating. Coming up from both teams, it was really well spaced. And honestly here, Murrdurr, really the man that set up everything for Torpedo there. And actually Raffer going to be in a little bit of trouble. Intoxicates. And that's a win for Torpedo. They're like, Intoxicate for a couple of normal abilities, we'll take it.
And now they can force out Gold Fury. They don't have to worry about the Intoxicate potentially stealing it. They're going to clear out the middle wave, maybe look for more poke around the corner. They need to be able to set up wards as Panthera come around the corner. Look for more of these Murrdurr taunts into Korinyo follow-up damage. However, Torpedo's going to look to try to trade and get this tier 1 mid tower after losing their own shortly earlier.
Moix just zoning out Dimi here on the side, but Torpedo, they're going to back off once again here. 4 members strong, emilitoo and Gamehunter still in the dual lane, but Gamehunter does have across the skies if he wants to make his way over, and you can see emilitoo starting the pings up, and Murrdurr gonna find another 2-man taunt. Here's Dimi around this corner as well. iRaffer actually being CC'd as Korinyo's locked under tower thanks to Adapting's ultimate, and actually managing to get out. Korinyo trying to juke, but he can't get Taiko drums off. Yammyn locks him down, and a 3-man stun by iRaffer. Surging forward is Panthera. but it looks like they're going to back off now. Dimi just zoning out the rest of a team, and a quick 1-for-0 for them.
Apollo showed up to that team fight without even using his ultimate. Neith didn't even rotate. So Torpedo losing that fight 4v4 for a little bit. Then it became, after losing that one member, Apollo showed up. So it was a 4v4 again, but they still couldn't get anything out of it. And as a result, Panthera is going to force the Gold Fury while Neith is forcing the tier 1 tower. Apollo landing in. Can Torpedo find a kill onto Neith?
Yeah, that's going to be a quick kill. emilitoo trying to take that tower, not going to be successful. But in the meantime, Panthera secure the Gold Fury. So they'll take the loss of emilitoo. And actually, iRaffer, just saying, hey, as Moix actually helped clear out that dual lane. Excuse me.
So with a 5v4 power play right now, Torpedo could potentially look to push out middle, push out the dual lane. I would rather them push out the dual lane. They also need to protect their tower, which is extremely low, less than 50 health right now.
Can you even protect that really, though?
Realistically, so iRaffer was around the corner thinking he could potentially just last hit it and then run away because he's Bacchus with Meditate and Shell and Hide the Urchin at a couple stacks, almost finishing off that Spear Robe as well.
So just pretty tanky, but decides not to. Saw too many members there, and here comes actually Korinyo and Bobat, and they're going to be pushing this tier 1 in mid lane. Left-hand side, excuse me. Raffer in a lot of trouble. He has his belly flop, but this should be a kill, and they're going to give it to Gamehunter. Murrdurr not wanting to steal that, and now it should be a tower on left-hand side. 3-man grouping coming out of Torpedo.
We talk about Gamehunter all the time and his abilities at Apollo, Hunters, and split pushing. He's already level 20. First one in the game. Torpedo getting traded 1-for-1 constantly. They're behind a little bit of gold, but Gamehunter always finds ways to capitalize on farming, and this is something that teams recognize and usually respect ban him. Panthera respect banned the Chronos, but they didn't respect ban the Apollo.
They actually took out Ho Yi away from him instead of the Apollo. How do you feel about this? He's going into Fatalis.
So in this situation, going Fatalis on a Hunter, whenever you have a Guan Yu on his cavalry charge trying to dive you, the Fenrir who's going to try to dive you as well, it's not the worst idea in the world when you're trying to constantly kite and you're buying time for the rest of your team to peel these people off of you.
Okay. And now 7-7 in kills, 23 minutes into the game. Torpedo taking this much closer than I think anyone expected. I mean, this is Panthera, right? These are the world champions. They are 17-1, and Torpedo is the bottom in Europe. And somehow they're in a very competitive game, and it doesn't seem like it's any cheats, right? It's still 5v5 team fights that Torpedo are going even in.
And the reason why is simply, right, we saw there, Murrdurr keeps finding the dash taunts with the follow-up damage from Korinyo and from NinjaBobat. And this is such a simple strategy when you think about it, but it's working very efficiently for Torpedo, the way they start off these team fights and little skirmishes.
And like just the ones in the mid lane, right? Where it's like we see Murrdurr get 2-man taunts for, 6 times in a row, and actually Torpedo making a very risky maneuver. Panthera smell this out though. You can see iRaffer rotating in, and I think they're gonna have to give this one up. Actually, they may be trying to bait a fight. Raffer trying to find the stun. Murrdurr jumping away for now. Dimi's here as well. Sprints popped, and here comes cavalry charge. Raffer knocks up 2. emilitoo ulting from across the map, gonna stun out Bobat, but it's Murrdurr who's plucked back to the rest of the team, and Panthera find another 1-for-0 trade.
They find a 1-for-0 trade, but a lot of people were poked out. Adapting is low. NinjaBobat is low as well. Speed buff is being stolen by Panthera. emilitoo staying in the lane, however. Apollo's just going to rotate, still wanting to make sure that he keeps his tier 1 tower alive despite the loss around the Fire Giant. Panthera could potentially get this tier 2 tower, and that's exactly what they're going to try to do.
Do you think Torpedo really should have made that risky of a play with how close this game is? Left-hand side, Gamehunter ulting, trying to take out emilitoo. Auto's being traded. This should go to emilitoo. Gamehunter dashing away. Has the minion advantage, though, but the oboe and the backflip going to secure the kill.
That backflip, though.
That backflip, though.
That backflip.
That's the BM kill, right? Killing someone with the backflip, that's just completely BM.
That is, and now Dimi in a lot of trouble after getting pull push, trying to juke out some of the shots from Korinyo. Can he buy enough time for emilitoo to bail him out?
He's going to try. Gets slow, but emilitoo still finds a 2-man route. Nobo doing work in this team fight right now, but Thunder Crash not going to kill right now. emilitoo trying to stay alive. He's going to backflip, but it's Moix with the blink stun to finish him off, and now Korinyo getting isolated as well. Bobat's here. There's Ragnarok. Gets immune down, and it's actually the rock over the wall, but Yammyn, a little bit too much damage coming out from him. Murrdurr here, going to come down, but I don't think this is a good choice.
3-for-2 trades so far, favoring Panthera. Can they find another kill off of this? We do have Raffer doing Intoxicate. Athena going to dash away, going to get chased down, adapting, brutalizing for the kill. 4-for-2 trade for Panthera, and now they're really close to this Phoenix. We'll see what they elect to do. Gold Fury is not respawning.
They have minions as well, but it looks like the team's more focused on this tier 2 in mid. They don't want to risk getting that Phoenix just yet. Gamehunter's just spawned. So they're going to play it safe, but actually it looks like they're just going to steal away the jungle. No one's really in position right now.
Right now, the way the mana and the health situation is, Adapted doesn't have mana. They don't have any creeps flooding down the middle or the left side lane, so they're playing it very safe, just taking away the red buff, which is a smart idea, not allowing to Korinyo to get that red.
And is this going to be the snowball for Panthera now? Was that one fire giant, do you think that was a mistake that could have led to this?
It was an ambitious move from Torpedo. Unfortunately for them, they weren't able to disengage as quickly as they would have liked. The chase from Dimi with sprint on top of the cavalry charge, there was nowhere for him to go. Adapting pulled Murrdurr away from that team fight, and they found an early kill. Now the question is, Torpedo, can they capitalize back from that? Yeah, they could, but they have to play it safe. They can't risk another fire giant maneuver like that. They have to allow Panthera to force the objectives and wait for the right opportunity to try to contest those objectives.
That seems to be the biggest problem right now for Torpedo's lineup. You could see Murrdurr, well, he's also been the greatest strength, he's also been the greatest weakness in that he has no purification, and Adapting, you know, is just picking him up and bringing him to the backline, and he's dying every single fight.
So the way Murrdurr has to counteract that is he has to recognize that he is the target initially, and he has to respond quickly enough with the Defender of Olympus in time for that Fenrir ultimate, as we do have Panthera starting up the Gold Fury, and nobody here from Torpedo to contest at all.
It looks like they conceded. They had to have known it was up. They're going to concede it. 8,000 gold lead right now for Panthera. 10K experience lead, but most of the players here hitting level 20, so experience lead doesn't really mean too much. NinjaBobat and Mox just trying to close the gap.
And now Panthera being big bullies with this lead. They're trying to contest the speed buff. Adapting, going to find a stun onto Mox and going to bind him as well. Nemesis ulti was used.
Mox actually to the back line does get damage off, but he should fall here. It's actually going to be all 4 members surrounding him. Korinyo ults as well, but no one even close to the damage from Taiko drums. And once again, Panthera find a pick as well as a stolen speed buff.
And now Gamehunter using this Fatalis, trying to poke out Dimi. Look at the movement speed as he does poke him out in the safety outside the tower. Meanwhile, Panthera trying to find this tier 2 tower, dashed on. Emilitoo taking a lot of damage, forced to Sanctuary as Murrdurr falls to Adapting.
And now it's just Korinyo and NinjaBobat. Actually, Dimi in a little bit of trouble here. Gamehunter getting aggressive, but he's not going to be able to find the damage. He just wants this tower, but I mean, in the meantime, he's already lost the tier 2 in mid. Additionally, the Phoenix being pressured, and the Phoenix is going to go the way of Panthera. And now Dimi, 1-on-1. It's Gamehunter coming up with the big play. And now Panthera have their Phoenix under pressure here, but you can see Adapting's just going to back and play it safe.
So normally what Panthera, in a perfect world, they would defend their tier 2 tower, and after getting the middle Phoenix, they would get Fire Giant. Meanwhile, Gamehunter perfectly getting the kill onto Dimi and the tier 2 tower, and now he's going to escape with his life. Not the most efficient trade in the world since you lose your middle Phoenix, but at least you get something in return.
And he almost got the Phoenix too, to be fair. It was close.
That was pretty close, actually. He could have maybe committed to that if he stuck onto it after using his purification to prevent the Ragnarok from going on, but instead he valued his life more than the left side Phoenix.
Probably pretty important. I mean, Gamehunter right now is just working on finishing his last item. I think he's waiting to buy it, and it's going to be Executioner, so a lot of penetration coming out from him. Look, this looks like a split push build to me.
Also, yeah, it's going to be a split push build, and the only god for Panthera to defend it is going to be the Guan, who is extremely tanky, having the Void Shield, having the Breastplate of Valor, the Shifter Shield as well.
I mean, we just saw how tanky he was there, though, at the tower. He kind of got 1v1'd.
Yeah, Gamehunter known to be very aggressive. Once he has these items online, we see the late game power out of him, and Panthera has to always put a body now in this lane, and Dimi being that body is going to be a little risky with the build that Gamehunter has online. Now, Torpedo has to start warding around Fire Giant, but they can't be anywhere in a position to get picked off. They have to play a little bit passive and wait for Panthera to start it.
And Yammyn just going to be getting a little bit of farm there, just trying to slow down Gamehunter's split push. Do you put Gamehunter in a different lane now, maybe?
No, I would keep Gamehunter on the left side. Reason being is you can ulti on over, and if you force Guan to defend, now Panthera won't have the sustain necessary to win these exchanges, which is very important. The sprint on top of the cavalry charge not utilized in a team fight around Fire Giant late game would be maybe a key winning factor for Torpedo.
And that's the only sprint online, right? We talked about it earlier how Nemesis is completely countered by both sprint and winged blade. There's only a single winged blade online for Panthera, and that's iRaffer, and one sprint, and that's Dimi. If Dimi's not there, someone's getting targeted down.
If Adapting jumps in and he gets targeted by NinjaBobat's ultimate, they can easily blow him up with Korinyo's ultimate as well.
Murrdurr.
Panthera yet again stealing another speed buff.
Murrdurr trying to find emilitoo, and it's actually going to be Moex with the boulder, but not going to connect onto anyone. Murrdurr still going aggressive, trying to help NinjaBobat, who's actually on the retreat. Tycho Drums trying to line up emilitoo in the back line. He taunts him, but it's not enough damage to finish him off. Moex 1v3 is adapting, takes out Bobat in the back line, and adapting just one at a time, picking these players off. Here comes the TP from Dimi here. Gamehunter had ulted to the fight, but actually decides to go to his base instead.
He was very low, actually. He lost that 1v1 exchange against Dimi. He actually ulted back to his fountain, and now Panthera are going to start up the Fire Giant with this one-man advantage, and Dimi's in the team fight. Apollo can't get here in time to contest.
This is free. Korinyo's going to walk in here, but it's already too late. Fire Giant's been taken and now adapting. He sees Korinyo, Thunder Crash is online, so he's not going to risk it just yet, and it looks like Panthera, they're going to be grouping up on this right-hand side. It's the last tower standing for Torpedo.
On the right-hand side, it's really important to try to utilize this Fire Giant as soon as possible, especially with NinjaBobat still being down. emilitoo doing a lot of damage to this tower. He also has a lot of mobility with the Fatalis and the Golden Bow as well.
Oh, wow. So it looks like a little bit of a double split push build. emilitoo actually has the highest tower damage and most towers taken in the league, but he's going to be actually jukes the taunt there. You can see he's raining fire, just trying to find Moex. Obo doing a little bit of work here, and he's actually targeting him out, trying to chase him in, but Bobat responds with an ultimate of his own, and now the Phoenix has fallen. No players fall, though. However, Fire Giant region should be good for Panthera.
You can see the style of emilitoo in that situation compared to a lot of different hunters. They would normally focus the Phoenix in that situation. However, he trusts his team to play aggressive and somebody else to tank the Phoenix, so he wanted to kill Moex, chasing him down consistently, and once he recognized he was in danger, backflipping. Very brave hunter for emilitoo.
emilitoo's always just felt himself. Brave is one word. But emilitoo here charging the ultimate. This Phoenix has fire minions raining into it, so it shouldn't last too long here. Murrdurr stunned out. emilitoo actually knocked up, and Moex keeps him under tower. Murrdurr very low. emilitoo finds the last hit. Yammyn takes out Korinyo as well, and now it's a 2-for-0. And Gamehunter, it's going to be Ragnarok finishing him off. 3 dead on the side of Torpedo. And while they looked good early, it's still Panthera. They're the wrecking ball of Smite. They're 17-1, and a second they're going to be 18-1 and only need one more game to secure themselves a DreamHack spot.
Panthera, at the end of the day, they play very well objectively, able to steal multiple buffs. Despite losing their speed buff earlier on, they were able to steal the speed buff and the blue buff after that Gold Fury.
I feel like it's very old C9-ish, right? They were the first team that, like, if they lost something on one side of the map, the rest of the team would just rotate, and whether it was take towers, take buffs, take an objective, they were very good at that. And I think, you know, Panthera have basically perfected it.
And something we didn't see there that adapting does normally do is sometimes he will also build into a teleport to try to do that split push similar to what Anister does. And that's another similar characteristic that they do.
Well, let's